All right, welcome back, everybody, to day 11. We're in the Orchos Tzadikim on page 51, in middle or towards the beginning of the gate of haughtiness. Baalei gava mitoavim be'enei Hashem. The haughty are despised by the Almighty. Shenemar toavas Hashem kol gvalev. As we say in Proverbs, the abomination of Hashem are all who are haughty of heart. Vihu nimser biyad yitzro. Someone who's haughty is completely in the hands of his yetzer, of his evil inclination. Va'afilu lo nisgael shema adam. Even though he wasn't arrogant over somebody else, usually someone who's arrogant, I'm greater than them, I'm wealthier than them, I'm smarter than them. Even if it's not over another person, lo b'dibur, they don't say it, v'lo b'ma'asen, not in action. Ach belibo levadu misko, but just in his heart, he feels like I'm so much greater than they are. Nikra to'eva. Even if someone does that in such a way, their arrogance is even not spoken or acted upon, it's still considered an abomination before Hashem. Why? Because the verse states, Shenemar toavas Hashem kol gvalev. It is repulsed by the Almighty when someone is arrogant. Afilu im ein lo gavhus ela balev. Even if it's just in his heart, nikra to'eva, it's considered an abomination. Amar Rabbi Seinu, our sages said, Kol Adam sheyesh bo gasus ruach ki'ilu oved avodah zarah. If anybody who has the haughtiness of spirit, they're like an idolater. They're like serving idols. Ksiv hacha. Why? Because it says over here, To'avas Hashem kol gvalev. It says in the verse that we just brought from Proverbs, from King Solomon, that anybody who's arrogant in their heart is an abomination before Hashem. V'ksiv hasam, it says someplace else, V'lo savi to'eva el beisechu, you shall not bring this abomination into your home. V'yesh omrim, and there are some who say, Ki ilu ba al kol ha'arayos kulam, is as if he has committed the adulterous act of all of the forbidden relationships by being arrogant. Tichsiv ki es kol to'evos ha'ele asu, because they've done all of these abominations using that same word for all of these things. We learn that it has a similar power in a negative sense. V'yesh omrim ki'ilu bana bama, it's as if he built the platform for idolatry. V'amru, and our sages in the Talmud tell us, kol adam sheyesh b'gasus haruach l'sof mismayet. Whoever has arrogance, you know what happens at the end? They shrink and they become really, really small. You know, that the Mishnah tells us that those who run away from honor, honor runs after them. Those who run towards honor, honor runs away from them. Right? So too is someone who's trying to be arrogant, you're going to shrink and fizzle away. Shenemar romu me'at. Because the verse says in Job, they are exalted, but only briefly. V'ro'ui ligado ka'ashera, and someone who is arrogant deserves to be uprooted like an ashera, a tree devoted to idol worship. You have to pull it out from its roots. Ksiv hacha, why? Because he brings, again, everything that our author is teaching us here is backed up with a verse. V'rameh hakoma gduin. V'ksiv hasam v'ashireim tegadeun, and because it has the same gimel daled ayin word in these verses, we can associate to teaching us a similar lesson. Ve'ein afronin ar, and the dust will not awaken from the resurrection of the dead, for the resurrection of the dead, and the Shekhinah cries for them. V'shechinu miyaleles alav, someone who's arrogant. Why? Because what's really going on with someone who's arrogant? Someone who's arrogant is given all of these examples. It's like they're idolaters, like they built the platform for idolatry. They've committed all of the adulterous affairs in the world. Right? What is going on here that someone who's arrogant and haughty is so terrible that all of these things? Because what is it at the end of the day? It's me. There's no one elevated. It's I do what I do because I am so great, but there's really no God above me. The Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what did Hashem say? Ein ani v'hu yecholnu l'dur ba'olam. We can't reside in the world together. Meaning that someone who's arrogant is pushing God out of this world. Shenemar gva einayim v'urchav levov oso lo uchal. Al tikri oso elo ito lo uchal. God and an arrogant person cannot reside in the same place. Amru, hi mandi yohir, this person, this is in the Talmud, this man who is arrogant shall not dwell even in his own home. Afilu ha'inche beiso lo mekabel, shenemar gever yohir v'lo yinve, afilu b'novel shalo. Even in his own home, he won't be able to. Why? Because he's going to get into a fight with his wife. He's going to get into a fight with his children. He's not going to have peace anywhere. Someone who's arrogant is always in conflict with others. Hagavo mevio l'dei redifas hakavod. What does arrogance lead to? It leads to seeking honor, constantly wanting everybody to praise them, and everyone to look up at them, and everyone to say how wonderful they are. Lehishtorer al bnei adam, and then to control other people. Vikvar yodato ma sheira lekorach v'adaso mechamas gava. So we see what already happened in the Torah, in the book of Numbers, when Korach and his arrogance led him and all of his 250 followers to then rebel against the Almighty. Shebikesh lehis gadel v'lokach gedula shelo nitna lo min hashamayim, and he tried to become great without the heavens declaring that he should become great. Umitoch kach nichnas lamachlokas, and because of this arrogance, he went into a dispute and into an argument against Moshe. Umina machalokas yotza kina v'sina, and from that dispute came jealousy and came hatred. V'chol elu midos pchusos meod, and these very lowly traits were the result. Ka'asher nizba'er be'ezras Hashem, as we're going to see further. Sof davar, at the bottom line of arrogance, kol ha'mekashet es gufo kedei lizgos, anybody who wears expensive clothing so that he looks really honorable and that everybody should look at him. They're wearing the fancy clothes, and they only drive the fanciest cars and only live in the designer homes. Hashem baruch hu. Such a person forgets about the Almighty. And such a person doesn't care about the mitzvos, and doesn't either care about good deeds. Because all he cares about is himself. They suck out. Someone who's arrogant sucks out all the air from the room. The only thing that exists in their room is them. Nobody else. Your accomplishments are nothing because I'm greater. You're nothing because I'm greater. Everybody is put down by an arrogant person. Nobody wants to be near an arrogant person. Even the Almighty. Even the Almighty doesn't want to be with them. Lekashet gufo hakole ashachariso rima, and someone who goes to beautify themselves, beautify their body, which what happens after we die? Rima v'tolea. We're eaten up by maggots and worms. V'amikashet gufo korov lezima, someone who adorns himself and makes himself look beautiful excessively. What does that lead? That leads to lewdness and inappropriateness. Ki Yisrael lifnei noshim lisochen beineim, because he's going to try to flirt with women and find favor in their eyes. Umitoch kach yiskarev etzlon v'yavo lidei schok v'kal ushosh, and then he'll come to lightheadedness and mockery and joking and laughter and try to just mock his way into their favor. And by the way, this is also regarding women who try to adorn themselves and beautify themselves, not in a normal level, but overly doing it. What happens if a woman does this? A woman is also responsible if she instigates and entices men to start thinking about her and to start having these thoughts. A woman is going to be punished for this greatly as well. Because she is causing others to sin on her behalf. To the degree where the halacha tells us that a man should limit himself from even looking at women's clothes that are not being worn. Limit yourself. Why? Not to get yourself into a place of temptation and desire. Even if a woman is not wearing it, it's just in the store on a what do you call those things? On a rack or on a mannequin. Even then, not to look at it. Kol shekain sheyesh isur gadol yoser ve'onesh gadol liisha miskashetes l'fnei anashim hamistaken law. Even more so, a woman has to be careful not to call attention, because that can also be a derivative of this negative trait of haughtiness.